यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलम् ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवान् बोधे स्थितिरिषावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारण परम् रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ओम 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 जय राम ओम जय राम ओम। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। You will sing after Doha number 125. देखी पाय मुनिराय तुम्हारे भये सुकृत सब सुफल हमारे अब जहाँ राउर आय सुहोई मुनि उदय बेगुन पावे कोई मुनि तापस जिन्हते दुख लही ते नरे सबिनु पावक दहि मंगल मूल विप्र परितोषु दहि कोटि कुल भूसुर रोषु असजिय जानि कहिय सोई ठाऊ सिय सौमित्र सहित जह जाऊ तह रुचि रुचिर परन तृणसाला वासु करऊ कछु काल कृपाला सहज सरल सुनि रघुबर बानी साधु साधु बोले मुनि ज्ञानी कसन कहऊँ अस रघुकुल केतु तुम पालक संतत श्रुति से तु पालक राम तुम जगदीश माया जानकी जो सृजति जगु पालति हरति रुख पाई कृपा निधान की जो सहस सीसु अहिसु महिधरु लखन सचराचर धनि सुर काज धरि नर राज तनु चन दलन खल निशिचर अनी राम स्वरूप तुम्हारे बचन अगोचर बुद्धि पर अभिगत अखत अपार नीति नीति नित निगम कह जगु बेखन तुम देख निहारे विधि हरि शंभु न चावनि हारे तेउ न जानहि मरमु तुम्हारा और तुम ही को जान निहारा सोई जानहि जेहि देव जनाई जानत तुम ही होई जाई तुम्हारी ही कृपा तुम ही रघुनंदन जानहि भगत भगत उर चंदन चिदानंदमय देह तुम्हारे विगत विकार जान अधिकारी नरतनु धरे हो संत सुर काजा कहूँ करहूँ जैस प्राकृत राजा, राम देखी सुनि चरित तुम्हारे, जड़ मोह ही बुध हो ही सुखारे, तुम जो कहूँ करहूँ सब साचा, जस काछिय तस चाहिय नाचा, पूछे मोहि कि रहो कह, मैं पूछत सकुचाऊँ, जह न हो तह देहु कही, तुम ही दिखाओ था। सुनि मुनि बचन प्रेम रस साने, सकुचि राम मन महु मुस्काने, बाल्मीकि हंसि कहि बहोरी, बानी मधुर अमिय रस बोरे, सुनहु राम अब कहु निकेता, जहाँ बसहु सिय लखन समेता, जिनके श्रवण समुद्र समाना, कथा तुम्हारी सुभग सरि नाना, भरहि निरंतर हो ही न पूरे, तिनके ही तुम कहूँ गृह रूरे, लोचन चातक जिन्ह करि राखे, रहि दरस जलधर अभिलाषे, निदरहि सरित सिंधु सर भारे, रूप बिंदु जल हो ही सुखारे, तिन्हके हृदय सदन सुखदायक, बसहु बंधु सिय सह रघुनायक, जसु तुम्हार मानस बिमल, हमसे निजीहा जासु, मुखताहल गुण गण चुनई, राम बसहुति यथासु, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Bhagwan asked one simple question to Valmiki Rishi. Valmiki Rishi, please tell me where I should stay. One thing you'll notice in Rishi Munis is they never give a direct answer. Direct answer is, please go and stay in Chitrakoot. But Valmiki Rishi first does stuti of Bhagwan. He says, Bhagwan, it is not that I don't know who you are. I know your essence in Nirguna Nirakara also. I know your nature as Saguna Nirakara also. And I am seeing you as Saguna Sakara without forgetting the other two. That is the greatness of Valmiki Rishi's stuti. Sometimes a sadhaka can get a thought that Advaita Vedanta and devotion, they are two parallel things or two opposite things. Means you can have one or the other. Either you are on the path of knowledge or you are on the path of devotion. Ramcharitmanas is one text where it shows the confluence of both. Same Valmiki Rishi who praised Bhagwan in Nirguna Nirakara, he said, Chidanandamaya deho tumhare. And soi janahi jihi devo janai, janata tumahi hoi jai. Means once Chaitanya is known as Aparoksha, there is no difference remaining between knower and Chaitanya. And that Chaitanya is Bhagwan Rama. The one who did this praise is now doing the same stuti with form, showing different sadhanas. It is just like saying, the one who knows that sun does not rise, sun does not set, that person can still write a poetry on the beauty of sunrise and sunset. He can still enjoy it in the same way. Rather, that poetry will be much more deeper. What is the analogy here? Knowing that essential nature of Bhagwan is Nirguna Nirakara, when that same Chaitanya takes avatar, he can still sing the glories in a beautiful way. as Saguna Sakara Rupa of the Lord. Now the 14 homes are going to be elaborated now, where Bhagwan has to go and stay, or Bhagwan can choose to stay. 14 addresses to find Bhagwan Ram. So we had just seen the first one, I think, right? We were just looking at the literal meaning of it. This is the second chaupai after 127. Sunahu Ram aba kahu niketa, jahan basau siya lakhana sameta. Bhagwan, please listen. I'm going to tell you those places where not only you can stay, but you can also stay with Lakshmanji and Sitaji also. First one, Jinake Shravana Samudra Samana. Those sadhakas whose ears are like ocean. Jinake Shravana Samudra Samana. Katha tumhari subhaga sarinana. And your kathas are like rivers. Ocean is so generous, or it looks forward to everything coming in, all the river water, never says no, never gets full. Like that, the sadhaka never gets tired of Shravanam, never gets tired of Ramakatha, never get tired of listening to Bhagwan's glories. And just like ocean has lot of depth, he has trained his Shravanam in such a way that he gets depth in knowledge. In Hanuman Chalisa we chant, Prabhu Charitra Suni Beko Rasiya. Hanumanji is somebody who takes delight in listening to Bhagwan's glory. Like that, this sadhaka takes delight in Bhagwan's glory. And just like ocean has gems, he is finding gems in whatever he is listening. All of you have heard this Upanishad mantra. Vidyate Hrudaya Granthi Chidyante Sarva Samshayaha Kshiyante Chasya Karmani Tasmin Drushte Paravare. Don't worry, even if you have not heard. Sometimes you take it for granted that you have heard. What it means is, every time we hear something, some knot of the heart should open up. That knot could be regarding anything, or there could be a spectrum of knots. Either it could be about dharma, what I should do, what I should not do. Either it could be about something related to Vedanta. There we can have a spectrum, but it is said power of Shravanam is considered good only when it is capable of opening knots. Meaning, if we say we have done Shravanam for 15 years, 20 years, and we are left with the same doubts we started with 15 years before, that means you have to work more on our Shravanam. So these are the sadhakas who are very diligently doing Shravanam, and they listen carefully. Katha tumari subhaga sarinana, bharahi nirantara hoina pure, tinake hiya tuma kahu gruha rure. In their heart, Bhagwan, you go and stay. So this is the literal meaning. So what is the first house? Those who are desirous of doing Shravanam, Bhagwan goes and stays in their heart. Now a little bit about what is this Shravanam. The one who is doing Shravanam is called as Shrota. Shrota. Puja Guruji says that Ra in that Shrota sometimes disappears. Ra in that Shrota disappears, so Shrota becomes Sota. Meaning he will go to the satsang, but you ask, why did you go? He says, Kaan pavitra ho gaye. Kaan pavitra ho gaye means I heard something good. He will not say he fell asleep or anything. He'll say, it was good. It was good. And sometimes that Ra in Shrota becomes full. So that Shrota becomes Sarota. Sarota means one who is very, very keen to find errors. Very keen to find what are the shortcomings in Bhagwan's teaching. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan calls it as asuya. Anasuya means one who doesn't find fault. Asuya means one who is looking for every opportunity to look for a fault. So that is the second category of Shrota. So we don't need Sota, we don't need Sarota, we need Shrota. So what is Shrota? Shrota is somebody who is listening very carefully and is able to grasp the essence of the subject matter. If it is Ramcharitmanas, the essence of Ramcharitmanas is, what is the nature of Bhagwan Rama? Now within that, there will be different facets. This was the main question, right, that Parvati ji asked Lord Shiva. What is the nature of Bhagwan Rama? It is so confusing when I just look at his leelas. Sometimes he is crying, sometimes he is lamenting. And Lord Shiva directly said, don't think that he is crying. In his essential nature, he is consciousness. He is taking this avatar and doing all these leelas. So don't get deluded by any of his leelas. Shiva Gita, that was the main teaching. And what does Parvati ji say? Rama Brahma Chinmaya Abhinasi. Sarva Rahita Saba Ura Pura Basi. Means after listening to teaching, in one chaupai she summarizes all the 4 dohas that Lord Shiva taught. He says, I know now that Bhagwan Rama is Brahma. And he is not Jada, he is Chinmaya. And he is Avinashi. Birthless, doesn't perish. Sarva Rahita, in his essential nature, he is free from all conditionings. But along with conditioning, he is seated in everyone's heart. Saba Ura Pura Basi. Ura Pura means in everybody's heart he is seated. Now you see just 4 dohas. Just like you have Chatushloki Bhagavatam, this is the Chatushloki of Ramayana. Shiva Gita is considered as Chatushloki of Ramcharitmanas. 4 dohas, entire teaching is given. But how keenly she grasps the subject matter. If that happens for us, then it is considered as Shravanam is fruitful. In Vedanta Sara, we saw this as Tatparya Nirnaya. Tatparya Nirnaya means so many things were said. But what was the central theme? That if we can grasp, then Shravanam is complete. So this is considered as one of the qualities also while doing Shravanam. And we should keep asking ourselves, why am I doing Shravanam? One Mahatma ji would say, थोड़े सुनाने के लिए सुनते हैं और थोड़े गुनने के लिए सुनते हैं. सुनाने के लिए सुनते हैं means I got good information, now I will share it with somebody else. सुनाने के लिए सुनना. And second one is गुनने के लिए सुनना. गुनने के लिए means to reflect. Whatever we have heard, listening with this bhavana that I want to hold on to this, reflect on it, and open it up for myself. That is the second category. That is considered as true purpose of Shravanam. Now examples you will find several of them who have done Shravanam in this way. One is of course Parvati ji. Second beautiful example is Parikshit ji Maharaj. Parikshit ji Maharaj, when he comes to know he has 7 days, he goes and sits on banks of Ganga ji. And he says, until I get this knowledge, I am not going to move anywhere. And he has this burning question, what should a person with limited time do in life? And then Shukdev ji Maharaj comes, teaching begins. And whenever he asks a question, he adds another clause after it. Parikshit ji Maharaj, whenever he asks a question, he says, Shukdev ji, I know you don't stay in one place for more time than it takes to milk a cow. Go dohana matram eva To milk a cow, how much time it takes? Only that much time you stay in one place. So please make sure that you answer my question elaborately. Don't cut short anything. I have this rasa, I have this taste for listening to this Bhagwan's glory. So please elaborately explain. No rush. And in between, there is one place where Shukdev Maharaj says, it's been a long time now. Do you want to go and eat something? He says, Shukdev Maharaj, don't worry about that. 7 days, nothing can happen to me. Rakshaka is going to come only on the 7th day. Until that point, nothing can happen. You please continue. There is no need to go anywhere. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshitji Maharaj is called as Mukhya Shrota. Mukhya Shrota means one for whom the teaching was given. Now, there were several other people who also heard. All the Rishi Munis were there. But the one who heard and benefited is Parikshitji Maharaj. You take Bhagavad Gita. Who is the Mukhya Shrota there? Arjuna. Such a great quality of Arjuna. After 11th verse, 10th verse of 2nd chapter, not even one question about war. The one who was so anxious, having so many questions about Drona, Bhishma, Duryodhana, suddenly he switches and starts asking, this mind is very turbulent, how should I overcome? Between those who do Saguna Upasana and Nirguna Upasana, who is better? I mean, that is the quality of Shrota. Once he has appreciated the topic, he will not go anywhere else other than that topic. Neither will mind go, nor will sense organs go. Okay, so these are some examples of good Shrota. And it is that only when we do Shravanam in this way, knots of the heart can open up. See, if there is a dark room, it is true that light can remove darkness. But that flame has to be big enough. If you bring a small spark, that spark is also light, but it cannot remove that darkness. Like that Shravanam, when we do, different attributes of Shrota, unless they are there, that Shravanam is not powerful enough to remove Ajnanam. That is this quality of Shravanam. Now we saw what is Shravanam. Let us think a little about power of Shravanam. Sometimes if it is some action, right, then we can explain ourselves or to somebody else why we are doing it. But to tell them, I'm going to study group, I'm going to listen to some spiritual discourse. Now the main question is why? Either they will get it or we will get it at some point. Why are you going to study group? Why are you going to some class? You see the power of Shravanam. It is said there are 3 topics on which you can do Pravachan and you can listen also. One topic is Dharma. Dharma involves what is my duty right now, or how do I decide my duty? How do I decide my priorities? How do I take decisions? And that Shravanam about Dharma is so powerful, it can bring a person out of confusion. Just like in the case of Arjuna. His question in the beginning was Dharma related. Dharma sammuda chetaha. That is what he asked Bhagavan Krishna. I am unable to decide, should I do option A or option B? Should I stay here and fight my own enemies, who are my own people, or should I leave the war and go away? Between these two, I am unable to decide which one is better for me. And look at the beauty of Shravanam. 700 verses Bhagavan took. And just through words, he gave him clarity about what he should do. Nashto moha smritir labdha. My delusion has gone. And I have recognized what is my true self. So first level is dharma standpoint. It can save us from lot of confusion in vyavahar. See, third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, such a great boon it is. First to understand it, to appreciate it, and try to internalize it. How many myths about karma Bhagwan is removing there? He says, Arjuna, inaction is not an option. So don't sweep the dust under the carpet and hope that everything is clean. So I will have to face my challenges head on. There is no way I can escape them. Starting from there, then he goes into spirit of Karma Yoga. Tomorrow's Ishavasya class will be on this topic. Kurvan neveha karmani jije vishe chatakam samaha. So that is the main point, how dharma related confusion can be removed through Shravanam. And again, when the sadhaka is listening, what is his bhavana? Let me appreciate what is Karma Yoga talking about. And if you go with this bhavana, even if you have heard the same thing before, even if you have seen the same thing before, and if Guru's grace is there, then the same verses will open up something new every time. That is the beauty of looking at the same thing in different ways. So that is dharma related. It will correct our understanding in transactions. Really speaking, errors in transaction happen because there is error in understanding. Confusion in transaction happens because there is confusion in my identity, confusion in my thinking. So Shravanam will operate at that level. Externally, you will not see any benefit happening at physical body level. Of course, to sit, you need to sit straight. That ability will increase, but Shravanam doesn't have physical benefit. Second type of Shravanam is Bhakti related. Devotion related Shravanam, whichever text it is, either Ramcharitmanas, Bhagavatam. What these texts do is, they slowly form an image of the Lord in our heart. They form the personality of Bhagwan and his gunas. They paint a picture of this in our heart, that if we can hold on to it, whenever we think about Bhagwan, this is how Bhagwan will appear to us. And it is so powerful that if somebody is wanting to be spiritual, and if they can sincerely do Shravanam and appreciate Bhagwan's nature, that understanding is sufficient to make their goal to be Bhagwan. Means if that person was having 100 goals and Bhagwan was one of them, if Shravanam sincerely happens of Bhagwan's nature, he will make Bhagwan as the main goal and all other 99 to help attain the same Lord. Means Varanam can come from Shravanam. Varanam means choice. Best example for this is Rukmini ji. When Rukmini ji writes that letter to Bhagwan Krishna, she has not seen Bhagwan yet. She has only heard about Bhagwan's glories. And just by listening to his glories, that image is formed in such a beautiful way. She says, my Varanam has to be Bhagwan only. Nobody else. This is the power of Bhakti Grantha. If we can sincerely do Shravanam of Bhakti Grantha with the same quality. What was the quality? Sitting down with this bhavana that I want to understand the essence of that text. If we do that, Bhagwan will become our Varaniya. Another example is Vibhishanji. When Hanumanji meets him in Lanka, he has a doubt that whatever we have done, I am not very proud of, he says. As an Asura, as a Rakshasa, several things I have done which I am not very proud of. I don't know if Bhagwan will accept me or not. And Hanumanji elaborately does Ramakatha there. Shravanam again. Guru Rupa he is, avatar of Lord Shiva, does Ramakatha to Vibhishanji. And based upon that, Vibhishanji was already a devotee, but he had 100 other things also along with him. He was serving Ravana also, taking care of his kingdom also, so many other things. Just on the basis of that Shravanam, he says, Bhagwan is my goal. If I go to him, he will accept me. Shravana sujasu suni ayavu prabhu bhanjana bhavabhir trahi trahi arati harana sarana sukhada raghubir. Guruji says this is one of his favorite chaupais. When Vibhishanji comes back, this is the chaupai he tells to Bhagwan Ram. Shravana sujasu suni ayavu. Bhagwan, I have not seen you before. I have left everything and come just by listening to your nature. Shravana sujasu, your glories I have listened. Based upon that, I know what is your nature. And I know that you don't reject anybody. So Bhagwan really asks everybody whenever our Vibhishanji comes, he asks Sugriva first, what should we do? Sugriva says, he is from Asura, you never can trust an Asura, you should not accept him. Hanumanji says, Bhagwan, he is an Asura, he has done several things, but you are compassionate, you should accept. Bhagwan says to Hanumanji, do you think I accept only somebody who is very good? He says, anybody who comes to me, doesn't matter who he is, that person I accept. So either he be somebody like Sugriva when he came to me, or even somebody like Vibhishanji. He said, doesn't matter where they're coming from, whoever comes to me, I accept. So that is his nature. Vibhishanji says, I've only heard. Trahi trahi arati harana, sarana sukhada. Those who take shelter at your feet, their life is sukhada. Sarana sukhada raghubir. That is our Bhagwan. You see, this is the power of Bhakti, Shravanam. Nature of the Lord will be imprinted in their heart, based upon which they can let go of many things and put everything at Bhagwan's feet. One was Dharma related Shravanam, second was Bhakti related Shravanam. Third one is Vedanta Shravanam. Third one is Vedanta Shravanam, which is Jnanam, Upanishads, whatever is related to knowledge part. Now look at the power of that Shravanam. Whatever erroneous notions a jiva could have entertained, not only in this life, over several lives, all of that can be put on one side and new knowledge can take place right here and now. And this is the anubhava of every sadhaka who has done sincere Shravanam. Means looking at journey 10 years before, 15 years before, what was our perspective about goal of life? What was our perspective about the means to reach that goal? About Upanishads. Whatever those perspectives were, if somebody has done thorough Shravanam, if they were erroneous, those perspectives, everything can be put aside and new prama, new knowledge can be generated. So much so that if that sadhaka is sincere, that knowledge will also take roots. Yajñatva na punarmoham evam yasasi pandava. Bhagwan's promise it is. He says, if you sincerely do Shravanam, then reflect on it, do Mananam, meditate, and other sadhanas, whatever is needed. This knowledge can take so much deep roots that you will never go back. Yajñātva na punarmoham evam yasyasi Pandava. So that is Vedanta Shravanam. It can remove all previous erroneous notions. For Vedanta Shravanam, there is some or all Shravanam you can apply. Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita only gives some tips. How do we make sure that this Shravanam is effective? He says, first we should sit down with lot of faith that such a thing called as Brahman exists, and it is of the nature of Ananda. Upanishads will take me there. With this firm faith, one should sit. Just on this word Shraddha, we discussed for 2 classes, 4th chapter. But the main essence is this one, having faith in the teaching. Then second, Bhagavan says, we should really want Brahman. We should really seek that truth, without which Shravanam doesn't have impact. Means whatever we are not seeking, even if we get to hear a lot about that thing, the impact of that thing is not as much. So you need faith, we need single-pointed quest or goal for that truth. And third one, he says, is disciplined life. Third one is disciplined life. If these 3 things are there, Bhagavan says, it's a wonder if that person doesn't get knowledge. Shraddhavan jnanam labhate eva. Tatparaha sanyatendriya. He needs faith, he needs single-pointed goal, and he needs some discipline in life. Minus any of these things, very difficult for knowledge to take place. No faith, wants Brahman, has disciplined life, he said it will be very difficult. Faith is there, disciplined life is there, but does not want Brahman. Just will go here and there. So many texts will keep going on. Faith is there, wants Brahman, but no discipline. That knowledge will not take root. 3 things required for Shravanam. Similar for Bhakti Shravanam also. Bhakti Grantha, same qualities will apply. Okay, so we saw what is Shravanam, then we saw what is the power of Shravanam and how one should do Shravanam. Now the second home. First home is done. Those who are seeking Shravanam of the Lord. That is the first home in which Bhagavan would say. What is the second home? Lochana chataka jina kari rakhe. Those sadhakas who are looking at Bhagavan, desire of Bhagavan's darshan, just like a chataka bird is looking up at the clouds. Rahahi darasa jaladhara abhilashe. The chataka bird, it is said, even if it is thirsty and it falls in an ocean, it will still not drink the water from there. It will keep looking up at that cloud and directly drink the rainwater from that cloud. That example is given for single-pointed quest. Like that, this sadhaka is seeking for darshan of Bhagavan. He is like that chataka bird, just like the drop from the cloud will come. Like that, he is seeking for Bhagavad darshan as the only goal. Nidarahi sarita sindhu sarabhari. Even if it has fallen in an ocean, it will ignore everything else. All other water, it will ignore. Like that, he is ignoring Vishayas. No other objects is his goal. Only Bhagwan. He wants to see Bhagwan in a physical form. That is a sadhaka. Rupa bindu jala hohi sukhari. Just with a drop, how that Chataka bird gets delighted. Like that, with one glimpse of the Lord, they are delighted. Inake hrudaya sadana sukhadayaka. In their heart, Bhagwan, you go and stay and give them lot of joy. Basahu bandhu siya raha siya saha raghunayaka. Along with Sita ji and Lakshman ji, please go and stay in their heart. That is your second home. See, whenever we want to stay in a home, we want to stay by ourselves, right? Of course, family is there. Over here, Bhagwan also wants his own home. This Rupa Sakti means that sadhaka doesn't have Vishaya Sakti. I mean, the one who wants to see the form of the Lord is somebody who doesn't want or is not having Vishayas, sense objects as Golo. Then only there is space for Bhagwan to stay. See, Bhagwan also comes and knocks, in a devotee's heart. And he probably asks us, in your priority list, where do I fall? What is your number that you give me in your priorities? If somebody says, I have 15 items ahead, Bhagwan, you're on the 16th one. He says, I'll be a visitor. I cannot stay there forever. Because those Vishayas are there already. They are waiting in line. Where will Bhagwan go and stay? To fulfill those 15 things, the sadhaka says you keep coming in between. But permanent residence is difficult. One Mahatma Ji would say very beautifully, आपको भगवान ही चाहिए कि भगवान भी चाहिए? Means, do you want only God or do you also want God? Until we say, I also want God, I say until there is a lot of time. Bhagwan will keep visiting, will take his help in fulfilling those things. But this is a sadhaka who says there is nothing else, Bhagwan. I want you and you alone. This point, Bhagwan in a very subtle way hinted in 12th chapter. Bhagwan is telling Arjuna, if you are finding it difficult to focus your mind on me, then one solution for that is keep doing it regularly. Abhyasa you keep doing. But second thing, Arjuna, if you get time, ask yourself, do you really want me? That is his question to Arjuna. Huh? The more you want me, to that extent, mind will get focused. Means if mind is not getting focused, Bhagwan's solution there is increase your desire for me. Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mai sthiram. If you are unable to keep your mind on me, abhyasa yogena tatah mamit chaptum dhananjaya. Do abhyasa so that mind can become firm, but at the same time, mamit chaptum, please increase little bit more desire for Bhagwan. Now this particular home of Bhagwan, the best example is Manu and Shatrupaji. Manu Bhagwan and Shatrupaji. During Avatar of the Lord, their story was elaborated. Manu Maharaj lives a very beautiful dharmic life. And what is his final conclusion? He is regretting about how he has lived his life. That is his humility. Huh? He says, Hoina Bishaya Biraga, Bhavana Bhasataba Chautapana. Means I have already reached the last quarter of my life and still I am not getting Vairagya. Hoina Bishaya Biraga, Bhavana Bhasataba Chautapana. Then he says, Hrudaya Bahuta Dukhalaga. This particular point is making me very sad. Janama Gayu Hari Bhajana Vino. Whole life went by without remembering Bhagwan. To that sadhaka, the one who goes and does tapasya, his final prayer is, Bhagwan, I want to get your darshan. I want to see you in one particular form. And then Bhagwan comes and gives darshan. But after he gives darshan, Bhagwan says, ask whatever you want. Then he asks, I want a son like you. And Bhagwan says, there is nobody like me. I alone will come. Next, you will be born as Dashrath Maharaj and Kausalya ji. That is the sadhaka. Goswamiji said, that is your second home, Bhagwan. Please go and stay there comfortably. No vishayas will come and bother you. You will be staying there as your own home. Two done, two homes of the Lord. Now the third one. Third one is beautiful. Jasu tumhara manasa bimala. All your yasha, which is there, your glory, that is like Manasarovar lake. And the speech of these sadhakas, that is like the swan bird in that Manasarovar lake. Your glories is like Manasarovar, and the speech of sadhakas in whom you are going to stay, that is like the swan bird in that Manasarovar lake. Jasu tumhara manasa bimala. Hamsini jiha jasu. Jiha means tongue, but what it means is speech. Their speech is like Hamsini, swan bird. What does it do? Mukata hala guna gana chunai. It goes and finds like that swan bird goes and finds gems in that Manasarovar lake. Like that, the sadhakas go and find gems in your charitra. In whatever leelas you have done, whatever glories are there, in that they will find the best gems. In their heart, Bhagwan, please go and stay. Mukta hala guna gana chunai, Rama baso hiyatasu. Please go and stay in such people's heart. So the third sadhana is Pravachan. Pravachan. Now, whenever you hear the word Pravachan, we feel, oh, this is not for me. I never do Pravachan. And Pravachan word also, sometimes used in all different contexts. If somebody is giving a lot of advice, continuously talking something, oh, don't start your Pravachan now. Prakarshena uchyate iti pravachanam. That is the etymology. Pravachanam means something which is expounded vividly and clearly. That thing is called as pravachan. So sharing ideas about Bhagwan with children is also pravachan. Pravachan is not always formal setup. Whenever we share ideas about Bhagwan with anybody, that itself is pravachan. And how should it be done? Is it like this sadhaka? One who is very, very careful in selecting the glories of Bhagwan, reflecting on them, and then sharing it. That is his sadhana. That is how he is doing it. So for this pravachan, there are some points which we can keep in mind. Very helpful pointers. So if pravachan word doesn't speak to you, replace it by sharing ideas. Because that is more wider, can apply anywhere. What should I keep in mind while sharing ideas? One important facet is, whenever we are sharing, we should be willing and putting forth effort in living those ideas. Not only willing, we should be willing and putting forth effort to live those ideas. We might be imperfect. That is why we are all sadhakas. But at least this conviction should be there that this is where we want to go. Otherwise, it is like some academic course. Some universities, they'll teach 6 darshanas. All different school of thoughts. Sankhya darshana, Vaisheshika darshana, Nyaya darshana, Yoga darshana. Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, Shuddha Advaita, Kevala Advaita, Shivadvaita, everything. But then you ask the instructor, which darshana do you belong to? He says, I don't belong to any. I keep my mind open to all possibilities. I don't sign up to any of these darshanas. He said, that should not be the case. Whatever we are sharing, in that there should be willingness and effort to live that thing. You must have heard the story of Gandhiji. Mother takes a child and says, please tell him not to eat sweets. He says, come after 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, he says, please don't eat sweets. Mother says, only this much you had to say, you could have told 2 weeks ago. He said, that time I was eating it. I have no right to tell somebody else, don't eat it. Means words do have power, but it has power only when that person is putting forth effort to live it. This point, Patanjali Maharshi writes in Yoga Sutra. But anyway, let's not go there. It will get too away off topic. What is the main thing? The first thing to keep in mind is willingness and effort to live that teaching. Now apply it with any sharing of ideas. It could be with children, co-workers, family, wherever we are sharing. If this bhavana we hold, suddenly the purpose of sharing becomes different. Where the benefit is not outside, benefit is inside. Right? In and through that sharing, if we get more clarity to hold on to that thing, so our purpose of sharing is fulfilled. If we miss this point, that same sharing can become a bondage. Miss what point? That benefit of sharing should happen inside, not outside. I say, I told all facets of devotion. I explained all facets of devotion. And see, that child became a devotee. That is also one form of bondage. Other is, I shared all facets of devotion. Nothing worked. Thinking in this way is another form of bondage. The real benefit is, if somebody is speaking about devotion, that person's mind should turn towards the Lord. If that happens, then the purpose of sharing is fulfilled. So that is the first facet. Second thing in sharing is making sure that you are interpreting things in the right way. Making sure that we are putting forth effort to get the sampradaya meaning of whatever we are sharing. Otherwise, it becomes utpreksha. Utpreksha means what, you know? Our opinion. Means example of utpreksha is when Bhagwan Rama goes to Lanka, the day before the war. Bhagwan looks at the moon and says, please tell me what you think about this moon. Why are there dark spots on the moon? And everybody gives their own opinion. Somebody says, Brahmaji made rati with material from that moon. Somebody says there are craters there. Hanumanji says, Bhagwan, moon is your upasaka. He is meditating upon you. You are dark. That is why he has gotten your qualities. The upasaka gets qualities of upasya. Now, there is no right answer. That is called as utpreksha. Everybody can give their opinion. And one opinion might be beautiful. But whenever it comes to spiritual topics, we say we should not have utpreksha there. Putting forth effort in understanding what is the real import of that thing and interpreting things correctly. This becomes very critical when it is Bhagwan's Leelas. If we just look at some Leela in a part and interpret that Leela in a way that we start questioning, I don't know, Bhagwan also can commit mistakes, like any other human being. Then we have not done justice to that Shastra, neither are we benefiting the listener. Whenever I hear this topic, one example that very fondly comes to mind is in one letter. You know that book Vedanta through letters? Gurudev has answered questions. One little girl asks, must have been Balvihar child. He says, why does Bhagwan Krishna break rules? Why does Bhagwan Krishna break rules? And Gurudev so patiently writes, at that time, if you see the length of their letters, you would imagine how much compassion a teacher has. He's writing there different points he wrote, and then he gave an example. He said, if there is a car going on your freeway at 160 miles per hour, if the cop has to give a ticket, at what speed does he have to ride? Does he have to drive? Naturally, 160 plus something. Now, if you look at the cop's car, what will you say? Why is the cop breaking the rule? He says, no, cop is not breaking the rule. He is trying to make sure that nobody else breaks the rule. And then he says, Bhagwan is karma phala data. If he has to give karma phala to somebody, he knows very well what that person has done before. And if he has to give that karma phala, he will have to do certain things at certain places. Just like that cop had to overspeed. Like that, whatever Bhagwan has done, that is to make sure that that jiva evolves further. He doesn't repeat the same mistakes over and over again. He grows out of it. That is the same chaupai hai. Muktahala guna gana chunayi Ram basau hiyatasu. Means even the leelas of Bhagwan, making sure that it is interpreted correctly. And of course, when it comes to subtler topics, Vedantic topics, this point becomes even more critical. Upanishad mantras, if you directly translate or directly try to interpret, any statement you make without keeping the big picture in mind, somewhere or the other, we'll end up contradicting ourselves. Means whenever you read mantra which says, karma alone will give moksha, and you interpret that directly, then you will encounter another mantra which will say only knowledge gives moksha. Now you have to explain both. You said karma directly gives moksha, not paramparagata, directly it gave. And here it is said, other than knowledge, nothing else can give moksha. But if you read Shankar Bhashya, wherever such things, contradictions come, Bhagwan will raise both point of views. And he will say, this is how you understand it here. Although it is said karma gives moksha, what it means is, karma gives chitta shuddhi. That chitta shuddhi leads to moksha. Means that chitta shuddhi leads to Shravanam. Through Shravanam, one gets liberation. So those nuances become important for Vedanta. Right? Where we understand which Upanishad mantra, in what way. That is also responsibility while sharing ideas. Okay, one was a general one, means while sharing ideas about Leelas. The second one is more Vedantic. Okay, 3 addresses done. Potential places where Bhagwan can go and stay. Shravanam, Shravanasakti, Rupasakti, and third one is Pravachan. Sharing ideas. Sharing ideas. Aganita Gunagana Bhushana Rama, Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama, Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama, Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama, Dasharathanandana Shri Rama, Dashamukha Mardana Jaya Jaya Rama, Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama, Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama, Papa Vimochana Shri Rama, Pathabhi Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Janaki Vallabha Sita Rama, Jaya Raghu Rama, Jaya Sita Rama, Vanara Sevita Shri Rama, वारिधि बंधन जय जय राम, हनुमत पूजित सीताराम, श्री राम जय जय राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हरि ओम।